This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danushka Madawala and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. Parliament has decided to continue with proceedings while following health guidelines. Sri Lanka's coronavirus caseload has surpassed 49,000. Tourism Minister says that travel agents must ensure guests conform to health guidelines. Bandaranaike International Airport accredited by Airports Council International. Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority says that Sri Lanka will adopt less strict procedures on foreign travellers but try to ensure that they remain within bubbles to prevent the risk of contagion. News overseas, Indonesia airplane's flight data recorder retrieved. Local news in detail. Parliament has decided to continue with proceedings while following health guidelines. Secretary-General of Parliament, Dhammika Dasanayake, said that the proceedings of Parliament will continue in accordance with the health guidelines issued by the health authorities. As several members of Parliament have been infected with COVID-19 at present, he said discussions had been held with the health authorities regarding the current situation. The Parliament Secretary-General also said that random PCR tests are being conducted on the parliamentary staff members. The Committee on Parliamentary Business will meet today at 2 p.m. under the patronage of Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abewardana to decide on the proceedings of the next sittings of Parliament. Sri Lanka's coronavirus caseload has surpassed 49,000. More than 300 individuals tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday, increasing the number of infections reported in Sri Lanka thus far to 49,259. All of them were individuals linked to the Minuwangoda Paliyagoda coronavirus cluster. Coronavirus recoveries earlier rose to 42,621, with 530 individuals discharged yesterday. Meanwhile, Director General of Health Services said that Sri Lanka has reported 4 more coronavirus-related deaths. This brings the total number of coronavirus fatalities in Sri Lanka to 244. Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said all travel agents and tourist operators in Sri Lanka who do not ensure that tourists arriving in the country follow health guidelines will be blacklisted after January 21st when the country is open for tourists. Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said if someone violates health guidelines, it will affect the entire tourism industry. Therefore, stern action will be taken against violators. Minister Ranatunga was addressing a seminar on tourism operational guidelines formulated by Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, catering to travel agents, hoteliers, MICE tourism industry members, tour guides and chauffeurs held at Sri Lanka Institute of Tourism and Hotel Management yesterday. It is mandatory for all tourism service providers, travel agents, tour operators, tour guides and chauffeurs who engage with tourists to be registered with the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority. Airports Council International has certified Sri Lanka's Bandaranaike International Airport for adopting health and safety measures in response to the COVID-19 global pandemic in line with the International Airport Health Accreditation Program. The Airports Council International Accreditation issued last Monday has recognized BIA's commitment to prioritizing health and safety measures in accordance with International Civil Aviation Organization Council Aviation Recovery Task Force recommendations and in alignment with the ACI Aviation Business Restart and Recovery Guidelines along with industry best practices. The accreditation has been issued by the Airports Council International Council following a thorough examination of the health and the safety measures adopted at the Bandaranaike International Airport in response to the COVID-19 global pandemic situation under their International Airport Health Accreditation Program. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news.
Save your card with a balance transfer facility from People's Bank. More details at peoplesbank.lk.
Continuing with more stories here at home. Chairman Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority Kimali Fernando said that Sri Lanka will adopt less strict procedures on foreign travellers but try to ensure that they remain within bubbles to prevent the risk of contagion. The country will not enforce minimum stays or strict quarantine requirements on foreign travellers. The industry has been given the go-ahead by the President as and when the airports open. She made these remarks while speaking at the Ramayana Yatra event on the 12th of January organised by tourist stakeholders. Sri Lanka, unlike other international destinations, will not enforce minimum stays, mandatory quarantines and/or periods of isolation for incoming tourists. Foreigners will be able to obtain 3-month visas online. 131 hotels have already been certified as being safe and 36 have been certified as safe tier level 1. The Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has made an order permitting Swarna Mahal Financial Services PLC to resume business notionally for a limited purpose and limited time under the supervision of the panel of management appointed by the Monetary Board subject to several strict conditions. The permission has been granted in the public interest and in the interest of the depositors of the company for a limited period of 3 months from today to this 12th April 2021 in terms of provisions of Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011. This is only for the purpose of repayment up to 50% of the remaining deposits of the company. That's on local news.
Save your card with a balance transfer facility from People's Bank. Transfer the balance of another credit card to a People's Bank credit card with the lowest interest rate. More details at www.peoplesbank.lk.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Ministry of Finance said under the guidance of the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, the government is successfully tackling the global COVID pandemic, building economic stability in the country. The National Accounts estimates for the third quarter of 2020 released in the midst of reopening the country after the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic have also revealed the figures numerically supporting the economic stability of the country, according to a statement released by the Finance Ministry. According to the National Accounts estimates, Sri Lanka's agricultural sector grew by 4.3% in the third quarter of 2020 compared to the same quarter last year. The fact that people's lives are returning to normal after the first wave of COVID epidemic has positively contributed to this growth.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddha Labor.
And on Watchlight, the Government Medical Officers Association says under the new normalcy and following health guidelines, people have to live with coronavirus for another 2 or 3 years. GMOA editor Dr. Haritha Alutke said, COVID-19 is a global pandemic and there is no escape from this situation. He pointed out even the World Health Organization is unable to predict a time period to eradicate the virus.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
World News headlines. Indonesia airplane's flight data recorder retrieved. Trump says his speech was totally appropriate. 2020 saw most excess deaths since World War II. World News in detail. Indonesian search teams have retrieved one of the 2 black boxes from the Boeing 737 plane that crashed into the Java Sea on Saturday, killing all 62 people on board. The flight data recorder was brought ashore, but the teams are still trying to locate the cockpit voice recorder. The authorities hope that data from the black boxes can give vital clues on the possible cause of the crash. The 26-year-old aircraft passed on airworthiness inspection last month. It was still functioning and intact before it crashed, preliminary results showed. U.S. President Donald Trump has said his speech before last week's deadly Capitol riot, when he urged his supporters to march on Congress, was totally appropriate. Mr. Trump dismissed his ridiculous efforts by Democrats in Congress to impeach him for inciting insurrection. He leaves office on 20th January when President-elect Joe Biden is sworn in. The House of Representatives is expected to vote on an article of impeachment on Wednesday. Finally, on World News, the COVID pandemic has caused excess deaths to rise to their highest level in the UK since World War II. There were close to 697,000 deaths in 2020, nearly 85,000 more than would be expected based on the average in the previous 5 years. This represents an increase of 14%, making it the largest rise in excess deaths for more than 75 years. When the age and size of the population is taken into account, 2020 saw the worst death rate since the 2000s. This measure, known as the Age Standardization Mortality, takes into account population growth and age. The data is only available until November, so the impact of deaths in December have not yet been taken into account, but it shows the death rate at that stage was at its highest in England since 2008. That's on World News.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
And on development news, the Cabinet has approved the proposal for constructing a LNG power plant, and Lanka Transformers Limited has been entrusted with the construction. The power plant, holding a capacity of 300 megawatts, will be built at the Keravalapitia Landambi power plant premises. The installation of the new electricity generator is to be commissioned under the 4th phase of the Norathole coal power plant development project. The Norathole power plant's phase 1 was commissioned in 2011. That's on development news. And on sports news, Paul Pogba's second-half volley was enough to give Manchester United victory at Burnley and send them 3 points clear at the top of the Premier League. United dominated a contest in which Burnley failed to register a single shot on target until stoppage time. But they were struggling to make a breakthrough until Marcus Rashford picked Pogba out with an excellent cross to the edge of the area. The Frenchman's connection was perfect, although it took a deflection of Matthew Lawton to ensure the ball went past Nick Pope and into the Burnley net. That's on sports news. Moving on to business news now. Samsung says it plans to offer more bespoke electronics to appeal to younger customers. The South Korean giant saw a big spike in sales of fridges and cleaners during the pandemic, while online sales grew 50% globally during the third quarter. One area of growth in South Korea were fridges that can be customized according to size, material, and color. Samsung plans to start selling personalized fridges in the US, Middle East, and Europe later this year.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And on economic news, Sri Lanka Insurance launched Nagaraja, an exclusive medical insurance cover to provide protection for Buddhist clergy and their family members. The official handing over of the insurance policy took place on 8th of January at the Temple Trees with the participation of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. This scheme, Nagaraja, will be available at Sri Lanka Insurance branches island-wide for the general masses to purchase and hand over as an offering of Pirikara to the Sangha. The insurance scheme also falls under the Insurance for All concept of Sri Lanka Insurance to provide protection for each and every citizen of Sri Lanka.
Hello, Buddha. Did you land already?
No, Amma. We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
Oh, really? How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy. She might be feeling very uncomfortable. The airport must be heavily crowded because it's a season.
Amma, calm down. Everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. There's nothing to worry. Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And on the weather update, showers or thundershowers will occur at times in northern, north, central, southern, eastern and over provinces. Fairly heavy falls above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the southern and over province and in the Ampara and Batticaloa districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places elsewhere after 1 p.m. Fairly heavy falls above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places. Wind speed can increase up to 40 to 50 kilometers per hour at times over northern and north-central provinces. That's on weather update, and with that it's time for us to conclude our morning bulletin of news, and it's back to Vienna this morning.